All of the extras are, I think, zombies.
Ooh, hot.
Let's take in this disguise.
I love an episode where Jessica's in disguise.
It's a hat. That's her
That's
disguise. Why did we make this? Why did this could have been an email? Why did everyone go to this party for 5 minutes?
essentially she's saying like, I'm not gonna give you any more apple pie, and the lady hears, I'm gonna slit your throat. Not the same, girl.
That's our episode title for today. Pour one out for Eve Crystal. I sure know how to pick them, don't I, Mrs. Fletcher?
And that is gay math, folks.
Shall we try to do it in unison?
Sure.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Tonight
Right.
on Murder, She
Murder,
Wrote.
she wrote.
I
We'll work
think
on
because of the slight delay, it's you know what it is? It gives me Alaska and Willem trying to do let's do political.
it.
Let's get political.
It's never quite right,
It's
is it?
never quite right.
That's part of its charm.
It is. Well, goodness gracious, it's time for Hooray for Homicide.
It is. I'm petrified.
I'm Victor Devon, and this possibly is episode 3,
Possibly at
possibly episode
five.
4, 5.
Might be episode 26. Who knows?
So the discrepancy is that IMDb lists The Murder of Sherlock Holmes Part 1 and Part 2 as a 0 because it's a pilot, but it's an aired pilot, which means it's also episode 1 and 2. Then we had Deadly Lady, and then we had Birds of a Feather, and now we have Hooray for Homicide. So effectively, this is the 5th episode.
And that is gay math, folks.
They try to make this too complicated. Well, because also, I watched this on Peacock, and um, Hooray for Homicide shows up as episode 5. You're watching it on Prime right now. What does it show up for you?
4.
4. Genius.
Who knows?
Okay. Well,
I'm
in any event,
prepared the same episode at least.
yeah.
Um, I mean, maybe let's just talk about that right off the bat. Hooray for homicide.
Great name.
Hooray for homicide. I'm gonna
Great
ask a
name.
question right now. I'm gonna try to remember to come back to it later, but what does the title Hooray for Homicide have anything to do with this episode?
Do you know, or you said that?
I
Do you?
I watched the episode and I could not make the connection, and maybe
Okay.
I was very dense or something, but Hooray for Homicide?
Okay. So, it is a reference to the phrase and the song "Hooray for Hollywood,"
Oh.
which is where this takes place. So, yeah. Now that song, which is featured in the movie Hollywood Hotel, is it's from like the 30s. So I don't know if it's frankly used all that often nowadays, but
Hmm.
as with many things in Murder She Wrote, it is an old Hollywood reference.
I see, I see. Okay, well,
And
I'm
if you want the gayest possible version of it, um, you'll see Mae West sing it in the movie Sextet. But
okay.
you know the song. It's da 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 da. That's hooray for it's a hooray Hollywood. Yeah,
Oh, of course, of course. You know
exactly.
where I learned that? The Great Movie Ride in Walt Disney World.
There you are. There you are. There you are. So yeah, it's been used a billion times, but a lot of people don't know the name of it because a lot of times it's the instrumental version. I remember it playing like before like the Golden Globes and before the Oscars and
Course.
like yeah.
Well, now I can hear it in my head. Hooray for Hollywood.
But
Those
of
are.
course,
Oh.
it's homicide because somebody has to die.
Okay, I take it all back. I think it's genius. I think it's clever. I'm here for it. Let's start the episode, shall we?
So for those playing at home, we have not yet reached the episode where Jessica Fletcher, aka Angela Lansbury, says tonight on Murder She Wrote.
Waiting.
We'll get there. It does happen eventually.
Victor Devon, I think
Yes, sweetheart.
I think we're blocked.
Okay.
I think
Yeah, it looks like it. It showed you. That's so funny. It showed you the ad, and then It
What a
said fuck
brat.
off.
Ugh. Prime, I
All
hate
right.
you. Okay.
But we're not even using the footage. We're just trying to facilitate the viewing for our.
Truly.
All right. I
Okay.
since even though you're hosting, I should or actually no, this is my video. This is my meeting
Yeah.
anyway.
Yeah.
Folks at home, aren't you excited about all of this?
Yeah. We figured it out.
Ah,
We should have known. Jeff
yeah,
Bezos is like, I'm gonna fuck up your podcast.
exactly. Can you see it?
I can.
Okay, excellent.
This,
Well,
this.
folks, know we have just hit play, so we're watching the Tonight and Murder She Wrote montage where we
And
see
just in
some of
time
the
because
suspects.
I was sharing my screen and just as I stopped to share, I got a text message that said, "We're gonna have sex" from my boyfriend because he's visiting in a week or two.
At least you
Oh,
have the agenda prepared.
I just want to share that with you. I got to see it for me, but I want to share it with you. Okay,
Uh,
anyway. Tonight on Murder She Wrote,
Tonight and Murder She Wrote.
we are watching
This
the
this
intro.
is a bonkers one.
Yeah, I had some thoughts about this, and I'm curious on this rewatch to see if any of those feelings change.
I think it's notable because it's early. This is super early, but it
Mm.
is the first indication that Jessica has really hit an echelon in the pop culture zeitgeist because she's having a movie made of her book
Which is
for the
what?
first time. For the first time.
Good for her. Good for her.
And if we are led to believe that her what niece Victoria was telling the truth in the previous episode,
In the
she's had
school
six
marm.
bestsellers.
Yeah, yeah. So she cranked him out, girl. She did it fast.
And this is, as we've learned from the first episode, and the one the story that's brought up the most times in this series is her first book, which is The Corpse Danced at Midnight.
Right? Oh, I
This
love
great opening scene.
correct. It's fantastic. It's kind of just what I want.
Jessica approaches a dummy and sees to strangle because she doesn't know how she wants her murderer to kill her character.
You really
When
think
in
about
doubt,
it,
physicalize.
planning. Absolutely. Play the part. Role play.
And then she says she wants to go back to the bayonet, which is also bonkers because that means that she's possibly tried it with a bayonet.
But isn't a bayonet like oh God, now I feel dumb.
No, you're fine. It's a
What's a
gun with like a
bassinet?
pointy thing.
Okay, I was thinking of bassinet, like I was like, I don't know how this makes sense to me. That's a different word.
Yeah, it looks like one of those guns with the swords on it, but it actually is just a sword.
Yes, yes. Okay.
Yeah.
That's extreme
But it
though.
has like the structure of like a the base looks like a rifle basically a lot of times, depending on where you look at it.
That is quite the prop.
Yeah. She's getting a call. Who's this, Agnes, she said? Yes,
Who is
Agnes.
Agnes? Do we know Agnes?
We've never met Agnes as far
Okay.
as I know,
All right.
but
Well,
everyone in this show is old. Now, there is an Agnes in an episode of Murder, She Wrote, but I don't believe it's the same Agnes
probably not.
because that one,
Kathy.
although that one's also in Cabot Cove, it could be. Maybe they just held on to it.
Okay, okay. They said,
We'll get to it.
pin this name to the board. We got to use it. This town ain't that big.
Uh,
Oh, we have good old Claude.
Claude Akins fixing Jessica's pipes.
He really gets shortchanged in this episode, doesn't he? He
He's
has about
just in the
three
intro.
lines in the beginning, and that is it. By the way, I love this actor who we're seeing. I think he's a producer, right? Film producer on the TV who's producing Jessica's film.
Yes, so this is the producer and is he also, no, he's not the director on the project. However, that is John Saxon, who is extraordinarily dishy, and he is the father in A Nightmare on Elm Street,
Sure is.
and he's also in Black Christmas. He's in another episode of Murder, She Wrote where he speaks with an Italian accent.
Oh, he is, isn't he? Oh, that's
And
him.
He's also done a few Italian giallo movies, which are Italian horror movies. So that's probably where that comes from. Maybe he spoke with an Italian accent and lost it. Who knows?
Okay, I have a question.
Yes, dear.
Here in the office of what
Lyle Waggoner.
Lyle Waggoner. What's the character? Lindquist, Lindbergh, something like that. Lindbergh's baby. I can't remember. What is he the publisher
He
or
is,
like an agent of sorts?
I believe he is the person who facilitated the transfer of her contract to
Right.
the movie rights. So I think he has to be in publishing.
Okay. Yeah. They don't
And
really
his name is Strindberg.
yeah. Kind of a waste of Lyle Waggoner. He doesn't get much to do with it.
Yeah.
Just
He
gets
has, I think, one scene,
flamboyant scene here in the beginning, and then he's just referred to a few times. But that's it.
because eventually he's replaced by basically a glorified mail clerk to sort
Maybe
of handle the case for
yeah, yeah. It's strange. It's like it's like they had to do a rewrite because someone was not available all of a sudden.
her. Well, wasn't the Carol Burnett show, I think, was on CBS, right?
I have no idea.
I believe it was.
Yeah.
And Murder, She Wrote was on CBS too, right? Or was that?
Where She Wrote, I think, was on CBS. Yeah.
It's hard to be sure now because, as we've known from this, rights get taken and moved
Yeah.
around so much.
Oh yeah.
So she's approached the set and
She has
met.
traveled to Hollywood from Maine to investigate this film of her book that on the news looked bogus and not good.
Yeah,
Um, by the way, there are a
yeah,
lot of bathrobes in this episode. Just have to point that out. Just pay attention.
yeah.
You're going to see a lot of people wearing bathrobes.
Everyone's in a preset or post-set moment.
That's right.
Um, and I believe one of the reasons that she's in a bathrobe is because they're going to do the love scene run through in just a minute,
That's correct. I love this.
which for some reason means they have to already be naked.
Hot. All right, Eve.
This is meant
Yes,
so
I call her
her
Eve
book
too.
has been bought by Jerry Lydecker, the very devastating John Saxon right here. I just find him very handsome. These eyebrows, that chiseled face, that
It's
very
too
long
fair.
forehead, hot,
They are
does it for
quite the
me.
eyebrows, sir.
So he bought it and he's making it into like a trashy, R-rated, sexy flick.
Yeah.
Which what do they compare it to? They compare it to like Porky's and like Return of the Living Dead or something like that.
And Halloween.
Halloween, that's it.
Yep.
Which basically, I mean, that's what's selling right now in 1984 horror.
Absolutely. Absolutely. All of those sort of carbon copies of that slasher formula were so popular and everything sort of exploitative. And this is when you were rooting for the killer.
Yeah.
And
Well,
so,
and many of these actors were in horror. Like, so we see
sure.
Marta here, the oh, what is she? She's not the
The
costume
costumer.
designer.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's the costume designer.
Yep.
Um,
What a name too. Well,
she is fantastic in
she is
this. She's
fantastic.
got
She is
some
the
great
star.
moments.
Yep, absolutely.
But she was in The Brood, which is like a oh, what do you call it? Like a
It sounds very witchy.
it's body horror. That's what it is.
Oh, okay.
And she's in a few like Curtains, I think that is another one that she's in, which is odd. Obviously, we have Nightmare on Elm Street, and we have John Astin who's coming in, who's probably
Oh, of
most known
course. Yes.
for the Addams Family, but
And
appears
also,
many times as a different character in Murder, She Wrote.
he gets a recurring role later on, which
He
is
does.
fantastic. And then he gets a superb exit too as that character.
Yes, that
It's
is
a great
it is pretty
episode.
good.
Very exciting.
He's also has a B. Arthur connection. He was in Three Penny Opera, the original 1954.
No way.
Yes, you can hear him sing the I Love the Army song on the cast recording. Yeah, that's him.
Used to believe in the days I was pure.
And he was also one of the Riddlers on the Adam West Batman show.
Oh, love that.
Yeah, he replaced Frank Gorshin.
Ow. That's me trying to do
Yeah.
it. Good work. But the writer on this, I don't know if you ever saw, let me get his name. I can't remember his name. He is the writer.
Oh, Scott, the character Scott.
I think that's right. At any rate, he played, if you've ever seen Swiss Family Robinson, he played one of the sons, the older son on that Disney film.
I think 30 some years ago, I may have seen that
Oh, I
film.
used to watch that movie constantly.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
because
been a
it's kind
minute.
of like because there was kind of some homoerotic tension in it, you know. It was.
Speaking of homoerotic tension, when we get to the detective, remind me because I have a funny note about him.
Oh, good. Okay.
This
Okay.
set,
Jessica is just lurking around the set, loitering, trying to eavesdrop. And they're about to rehearse the sex scene.
yeah, which again, for some reason has to be done naked.
Yeah.
Which means it's a closed set because that's how she gets kicked out. They're like, okay, everyone has to leave. Like,
Right.
it's just the run through. Put on a
By
body
the way,
stocking.
this Scott guy, he has the greatest line. They wanted to put body makeup all over me. With this man, Jesus. Cowabunga, dude.
Oh God. Yeah, there's a bunch of greasy Hollywood types. That somebody who wrote this, I feel like they were going through something and this was
Sure.
cathartic for them.
I actually really like the way the working set is portrayed here. With you know how so often in Murder She Wrote, there's like three people backstage, and they are the people who do everything for the whole show. In this case,
Mhm.
there's a whole crew of folks. It's a big set. It actually feels more appropriate to what it what it looks like to make TV.
It's yeah, well, I mean, Murder She Wrote never skimped on the extras. And there are extras after extras on this show, on this episode too, because
Yeah.
there's a lot of crowd scenes in this
Mhm.
in the lot.
Yeah. Okay, so she's here and she just
Wait, can we just one of my favorite lines?
please
One of
do.
my favorite lines. My husband and I use variations of this line.
Ah, nudity is necessary for the story. It reveals Jenny's true character.
In my story, Jenny was Johnny, the 10-year-old son of a Presbyterian minister. And he didn't take off his shirt in 200 pages.
So I made a few changes.
Mr.
I should say.
So that's the thing. Eve,
Thing
the
right
ingenue,
across.
has been added to the cast just because he is the producer is sleeping with his would-be star.
Yeah, they doing it.
This poster mock-up, the
What is
movie's not even made yet,
makes
and this
sense.
is the poster mock-up.
Oh, this woman, by the way, who comes in for a split second here, gets a great moment later on, a great reprise. Very dramatic. I'm so excited for her moment.
Actress Marianne McAndrew, who is Barbra Streisand's co-star in Hello, Dolly.
I'll be damned.
She plays Irene, who is really is the reason everything happens in that show.
She does look like she could be an understudy,
She doesn't sing, however.
right?
She's
Oh,
dubbed. She gets this great
lazy.
song. She gets this great song in that show, and she's dubbed.
Jeez. Look another
And then
bathroom.
Jessica looks hungover.
Uh-huh. And a silky bathrobe this time. And then this
Uh-huh.
little guy shows up at her door. Aren't we like halfway through the episode? And who is he?
We are 13 minutes in. Let's not jump the gun here, but no one's been murdered yet.
Right,
He's representing Lyle Waggoner
right.
with her contract because she has found out that Jerry Lydecker did not need her permission to make any changes to her novel. She signed away her
She is
rights.
wrong. And she just threatened that man,
Ish.
kind
They
of.
sort of make a big
They
deal out
throw
of it
that
because she has
around.
to be a suspect, but she's like, I will do anything I can to stop this picture. Like, yeah, I'm sure she meant murder. Yeah.
It's essentially she's saying, like, I'm not gonna give you any more apple pie. And the lady hears, I'm gonna slit your throat. Not the same, girl.
Oh.
Okay, so they're reading through the contract. Um, she's in the wrong, but so what would you do in this circumstance? Like, is there any legal recourse that you can take when you essentially signed it away?
It depends on what. And just a quick note: this actor here playing
Yeah.
the lawyer is from Welcome Back, Kotter,
Yeah.
reference to our previous episode, which featured Mr.
Oh,
Kotter. Uh,
creepy.
this I think again, this might be an example of someone who made a bad deal and then, or there was a bad deal going around in 1983 or so that
Maybe.
was famous at the time,
Hmm.
because movies all the time we say, oh, why did they change this? Why did they make this modification? And they really can do whatever they want if you wrote that they can.
Truly.
Like I remember, it's an odd example, but when The Color Purple came out, Alice Walker was not happy that that Steven Spielberg removed most of the lesbianism in
Mhm.
it,
Right.
but she acknowledged that the film probably would not have been made any if they hadn't,
Yeah.
and she didn't have any way to change it.
Yeah. What can you do?
Yeah. And I think that happens a lot when it's one media to a media. If they had bought the script, they may have had to do more to change it. They may have needed permission
Right.
because then they would have had to buy the script with that mentioned.
Oy, all those legalese.
I know. So we have a corpse.
Okay, first of all, she's like, I gotta apologize to this guy, so I'm gonna walk through a dark film set. That's exactly where I'm gonna go first. What is she thinking?
He must be here.
What is she thinking?
I know.
Well, and then okay, in these officers' defense, she actually acts kind of guilty.
She says
Like
all the wrong things.
she's very like unsure of what she's speaking. She gets caught up in her words. She flutters around. I'm like, Jessica, chill out. This is
She's
not the Jessica Fletcher we know and love.
Well, she's overly technical. She's overly specific.
Oh yeah.
Like she just said, I showed up and I found a dead body.
Yeah.
What she says is, I found this button next to, or I have this button. It was next to the body. Like, listen, you got to use your phrasing.
Surely.
That's why she's not her editor.
This is the point where if you knew Jessica, you'd be like, hey, you're around a fair number of people getting dead.
The button is gone.
Button is gone. Did we see the button before? We did.
Yes.
Yeah, we did.
It zoomed in on it. It's a gold button in the brush.
Fake grass. Um, which honestly, the button as a clue is like kind of cool, but there's not a great payoff for it.
No,
You know what I
not
mean?
really.
Yeah,
I think it's just a means to get her into
yeah.
the reveal.
What
Um,
I do
what
like about this episode is that there are a lot of little clues that I think as an audience we get to pay attention to, which
mm,
they're not always clear in a lot of these episodes, but this is certainly one where we get to play along. And the suspect list is sort of very balanced and it's easy to say, I think it's that one. I think it's that one.
Right. It's not a closed set murder mystery where everyone's in a mansion and are dropped off one by one, but the suspects read like that. It reads like a dinner party
Yeah.
where, okay, this is because they're all archetypes. It's the
Mhm.
former girlfriend, it's the ingenue, it's the producer, it's the director. Like these are all very
Job.
specific.
Yeah.
Now, we
Oh,
have our
Bennett. Oh,
detective.
I'm so happy he's here. What a joy.
This is the actor Jose Perez, who is in a lot of things.
Oh, yeah.
However, I always think of him as the attendant who turns out to be God in the play turned TV movie Steam Bath, which
What?
is he's where it turns out that God is the Puerto Rican janitor. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It is very much of its time. It is all on YouTube. It is the homosexuals are depicted very oddly, and it
Oh,
also stars Herb Edelman.
I'm in. Oh my God. Weird Gaze and Stan, please.
And the janitor
Yep,
is God.
yesterday. It was God. He is a joy in this little episode. What a little bundle of manipulative energy he is.
You know, he reminds me of? He reminds me of a lot of the cadence that he uses is reminds me of the case of the Libertine Bell.
For
That
sure.
detective where he's like, I'm not familiar with her sexual proclivities. That would be Golden Girls, folks
What are
at
you,
home.
a rookie?
Oh, this purple jumpsuit.
Marta is having a moment. She cannot believe she's seen the dead body of her former lover.
We don't know yet that she's his former lover.
Oh, sorry, gave
We
it away.
just think, oh,
Spoiler.
we just think that they work together. She's like, is it possible you don't know?
Right.
I used to live at the beach house.
Fabulous.
But
Loved
I
her.
mean, admittedly, I mean, seeing a dead body that's been essential. I mean, that's a lot of blood for Murder, She Wrote early years.
Oh, kind of is, yeah. Usually those wounds are pretty demure.
Like we have people who are shot point blank and there's not a scratch on them.
It's just like a little dot. And there she's being nosy again.
Just stare at, like, paying attention, just interested. Those eyes, look at her. She's like
Yeah.
taking it all in.
Oh, Marta, this purple jumpsuit is, I would call it aubergine.
Oh, yes.
VV cute. Okay.
And somebody has to tell
This
the
is
already dead
wild.
Jerry Lydecker, who's, again, I feel kind of not wasted because he has great moments, but he's already dead.
Yeah.
And it's 20 minutes in and we don't see him ever again. He was such a bastard. I loved it. But somebody has to tell his little cutie, the ingenue, that
Ingenue.
he's dead.
How this is where our lieutenant starts doing his work. He's like, yeah, I think it's best if you tell her. What? They're essentially strangers.
I know. And also,
What?
like, well, go do this job that I don't want to do because he doesn't have to.
Yeah.
She goes to the beach house and meets the ingenue, who gives me very Linda Blair.
Oh, she does. She looks a little bit like one of those really pretty cats with the really scrunched in faces. Is that not that's not very nice, is it? I
No,
think it's
it's
very
perfectly.
cute.
She has very tight features.
Doesn't she? She looks like Yzma in The Emperor's New Groove after the potion. This is a wild scene too. She is drunk as a skunk, drinking Diet Coke and whiskey.
Yeah.
This
Which
for one.
when we get to the reveal at the end, Jessica's realization of why Diet Coke and whiskey is
It's so dumb.
it's so dumb. It's so
People drink whatever
stupid.
they want, Jessica. Who are you to say who gets to drink what with what?
She's also like what? Supposed to be like 22?
Yeah.
An
You think that is
experienced
the
drinker
wildest
would
thing
never.
I had when
What?
I was 22? Oh my God. We had a party, a Halloween party one year. And we decided to make it a Disney gender fuck Halloween party. And so everybody came in some sort of gender fuck costume. And I got a big blue mop bucket and I told everybody to bring something. Everybody brought it and we poured everything in the same mop bucket and we called it Cinderella's mop water. And we all became very, very drunk and very ill. Uh, so take
Uh,
that whiskey and Diet Coke. You drink.
yeah, I know. Well, isn't everyone sort of? It's sort of like like a vodka and juice situation for most of us. Uh, I don't. I mean, I didn't drink until I was 21. I had had like sips here and there, but and then I committed. But I liked the sweet stuff.
And you,
Oh yeah. So this Eve, for folks at home playing. Who is she? She was Mary Ingalls on Little House on the Prairie.
oh yeah, that's right. Look at those blue eyes.
I
Wow.
know.
Meow. Um,
So I know it now. I can't not think she does look like a little cat. It's you know what it is. It's a little button nose.
A little bit, yeah, yeah. Also, look at this fabulous place she lives.
I
Go,
know.
go get it, girl. This
And
is something. This
all of this scene, including every other scene on this, clearly dubbed, clearly looped. Because look at the wind.
I know that tree just blew over the back.
The wind is insane here, and if you really pay attention, like when Jessica says somebody killed him, like it that didn't come out of her
Oh
face at that time.
no, not one bit. She's a magician, that Fletcher woman. Uh,
And
also,
see, this is how famous she is. The press knows her.
as a prime murder suspect, no less.
Oh.
How the tables have turned.
That early too. Has she been a suspect yet?
I
Yes.
has she? Let's see.
She was wait. No, this is
No,
her
I don't
first
think so.
suspect.
This is the first episode 5 or 4, three.
Yeah.
Not bad, not bad. They really couldn't wait. Why is he going back to her hotel room with her? I always think that's weird.
To tell her why he is worried that she might be a suspect because somebody must have wiped off the fingerprints to the
Yeah,
urn that hit Lydecker, and that's the kind of thing an experienced mystery writer would think of, not a killer in the spur of the moment.
like, oh, he twists her arm. I just love him so much. Even though he fully knows, he fully says the whole time that he doesn't think she's a murderer, but he gonna leverage it.
Well, I mean, at this point, he is fully involving her in a lot of details
Oh
that
yeah,
you would, as a civilian, she should not be privy
totally
to.
inappropriate. Totally inappropriate. I like that blouse on her. I gotta
Yeah, I
say.
was thinking that it's very, actually, I'm wearing a little stripy shirt
You
moment
are.
too, a little
You're
blue and white
very.
stripy.
You and Jessica planned this, didn't you?
Completely
Oh,
unexpected.
jeez.
You know what that shirt, that type of shirt always makes me think of is the most random thing of Michelle Pfeiffer into Jillian on her 37th
Oh my
birthday,
God.
with her scampering around the beach in her jeans and a stripy white shirt. I don't even know if it is a stripy white shirt in the movie, but for some reason, I always think of it because I used to watch a movie on video cassette where that was the trailer.
Oh my gosh.
So
Video
I would watch
cassette.
it every single time.
All of those.
Ah,
Whenever I see like one of those classic, like Little Mermaid or something,
mhm.
I can always imagine the preview bar coming soon to a theater. Oh, those were the days. Fuck on demand. Fuck Prime. That's what I have to say. Oh, here we are
No,
with
now they give us commercials on top of it. I mean, I get commercials and I pay full price for that damn thing. Oh, look at this fabulous woman in the boa, these extras. They're clearly going to a party scene. There's nothing like seeing
she's really
extras in
tall, isn't she?
extras in a scene set in in a Hollywood movie a lot because everyone's doing a different movie.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're all in such close proximity.
You have like Roman guards
Very like
and
the MGM
flappers.
days, right? Like, come on. It reminds me of that scene in Pee-wee's Big Adventure. What are they even talking about? Oh, so the writer, he got his script sort of this is our lovely Fritz from Swiss Family Robinson. I don't remember his character name, but he got his script sort of butchered
Alan. Alan here.
by our victim. And so that's sort of his motive, right? Oh, what? Okay. We hold the phone. Jessica's just gone into the studio where they're doing some sort of rehearsal run through of this awful, awful, awful movie. It is it is like modern dance in a neon lit graveyard.
It's basically the limelight. It's just what we're having. This is Party Monster right here.
Reminds
Also,
me,
all of the extras are, I think, zombies.
ooh, hot.
If you look, I mean, they don't show them very much, but if you just look past the footage of the gates, they look like they have like ghoulish makeup on, but now they're suddenly not here. There, yeah, right. They just walked by. They had like a
Yeah.
little something. It's a little thriller.
I did not expect to see this little graveyard set lit up this way. Pretty wild.
It's pretty fantastic. I have to assume that it's a dream sequence, maybe.
I don't know.
I don't know. But I
Uh,
also like Marta says, Jessica, you look so bewildered.
no, yeah, not enough smoke over there.
So we get a note here
Ooh,
that
this is
somebody
important.
put vodka in Eve's drink
Years
and it turned her
ago.
bright red and she got very upset.
Um, this is maybe I think one of the most obvious like clue plants in the whole series. I was like, couldn't be clearer that we need to know this. Um, And it
So
immediately
she,
implicates Eve as a potential suspect because
yeah,
we know now that Eve lied to us. She wasn't drunk. She can't
she
drink.
couldn't have been drunk.
Not
But
if
the
she has a
question is, how was she at the beach house when Lydecker was killed?
dun,
Stay
dun,
tuned.
dun.
Oh, here we go. She's gotten called out by the secretary.
Oh, love it. Oh, look at her. She is here for this acting role. She's like, I got my 3 lines. I got my union pay. You'll remember me.
Her name is Sunny Finch in this. The
But
secretary, Sunny Finch.
she is I hate to I don't mean this in a bad way, but Sonny, you're dressed like a secretary.
It's no, it's quintessential 80s
It really
secretary.
is that high like
It's
scarf around her.
dowdy and so it's pre-big business. Like it's before we glamorized like Ghostbusters, what do you want? It's before that.
The hair is a little Glenn Close and Fatal Attraction.
Blown out.
Yes. I love her
Or
little.
a little Phil Spector during the trial.
Oh, by the way, Jessica just got arrested.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
Forgot
you
that.
know. She got
Very interesting.
uh she she got fingered by the secretary as the threatener.
Uh-huh. Good. And then this is when he fully says to her, I don't think you did it, but I'm going to use this and you're going to help me.
Yeah, I had to arrest you so no one thinks so ever no you can do my
Oh,
bidding basically.
yeah.
Keep
Yeah.
my undercover.
Mhm. She is essentially strong-armed, blackmailed into doing his dirty work for him. And of course she does.
Of course.
Uh, but you know what? I secretly think she loves it. Every time she's like, I have got to leave. She's like, really? I can't wait.
Well, every time she's on the
Make them
first plane
go.
home, and no, she's never on the first plane home.
No, 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 no. Also, I think her flight times must be she must be on like the Concorde because she is there, everywhere.
She's Delta Diamond at this point.
It's Delta, she's Delta Platinum top tier diamond. Is that another bathrobe?
I I don't know actually where it
At
may
this
have been
time,
just a blouse. No, it's a her blouse.
too
It's like
bad. I was
it's
really
like
excited.
oh wait, that might be a no, because it goes down to the bottom.
Probably
I think
isn't.
that's another robe.
I'm telling you, what is this hotel where she has like 5 different robes?
Oh, she brought her own. You know she brought her own.
She did. How very Blanche.
So she's asked Norman, the lawyer that Lyle Waggoner threw at her, to handle this for him because he doesn't want to do any more scenes.
Well, what's great is that she basically got all this work from the lieutenant sloughed off onto her, and she's just giving it right to him. So
Well,
she,
she's asking him for Eve's Crystal's medical records
well,
because she needs someone to be able to access that, and she doesn't have Seth yet. She doesn't have someone who can do that.
good. Be
Be
resourceful.
resourceful, helpful,
It is a robe. It is a bathrobe. Oh, God bless.
disguise. Let's take in this disguise.
I love an episode where Jessica's in disguise.
It's a hat. That's her
That's
disguise.
yeah, this is okay. This look is very Rose Island running through the parking lot.
Oh my God, it is, isn't it?
Isn't it?
It
Oh
is.
dear Lord.
And somehow she has again flirted or just managed to get in to
Watch
another
what
situation where she's watching the dailies of what Lydecker was watching before he was killed, thinking that that might have a connection.
and it's a video at the beach under the pier of Eve and Scott kissing during their scene and not stopping when they all cut. Um, okay, sloppy.
I
Uh,
know. It's
like
so, again, they're young and I mean, he's not
your
that young. He's got to be like 30.
boyfriend,
And
the
she,
producer of this movie, and you're just like making out with this guy. Come on,
yeah.
you asked it. So I
The,
don't want to say that,
you're asking for it.
but
Meanwhile, the projectionist happens to drop that his nephew is the writer, Norman. Fun. There you go. All right.
wait,
For
that's
some
right.
reason.
So right.
Yeah.
Detail important? Not at all, I don't think.
No,
I think this just
like I
needs to give
think
us a hint so that Jessica can
maybe
do everything.
that's how she gets him to agree, but it seemed like he would have let her. I don't know.
Well, I love how she reads him, the Scott character.
Sitting with him at the makeup table, and also, who is this character? This very androgynous.
I was wondering too. Um, the hair is a little unkempt, but kind of hot.
It's all very. I don't know the gender of that individual. They are giving like sort of like aerobic fantasy with like that flash dance shirt.
Very inconspicuous in the foreground, which they're gone now. Maybe they'll be back. Okay, so she is essentially calling out that she knows that Scott and Eve are banging.
A banging, an item, as she calls it.
Yeah.
I would love if Jessica
Tomato,
had said,
tomato.
"Wouldn't you rather give this to Eve, who you are banging?"
That's what she said. Maybe that was in the subtitle. I don't know.
It's implied.
And he gets real steamed. Takes
And
his
that was all, I guess,
picture back.
just to confirm that they were sleeping together.
Yes,
Like
so
that was that subterfuge was necessary.
it's weird because then they're at like a party later together and they seem absolutely fine. And he's like, "Hey, cool. Hey, Jess." You know what I mean? Like,
Like completely unromantic.
way. I think what
Completely
we're doing
unromantic.
here from a writer's perspective is giving a moment to each of these suspects where we investigate something about them that gives them motive, right? And even though spoiler Scott is totally unimportant,
Yeah.
he's a good decoy.
Then we
I
have the great Elinor here.
oh, so great.
Such a great scene. The only scene that she has, but it's necessary.
I rewound it
It's
for
compelling. So good.
yeah.
Another great, great character actress right here by the name of Virginia Mayo.
I was certain that I had seen her in something or that I knew her for something, and of course I just sort of baked into all of these little parts, but I didn't recognize any of them in particular.
Yeah, like I'd heard of the shows that she had been part of.
Yeah.
I don't know those. I don't know her.
She
I
kind of
think she's just very approachable. Like she's just a very
that
uh
purple look is quite chic.
I love it.
Yeah.
I love it.
I love that it's very sad
Also,
she gets
everyone's very
these
tall.
costumes and they look at one item essentially and Jess is like, so where's the majorette costume? And
Yeah.
it's like, and then she just puts the costumes back. It's like that whole rack of beautiful things and we're just passing right by.
Also, I'm gonna go back
To
just a
give her
second.
kudos.
There we go. Wait, here we go.
And all of these discarded. It's a shame. That's what it is. A wasteful, extravagant shame.
Extravagant shame. Fantastic.
Encore,
What
encore.
a what a reading.
Oh,
But again, we have to go to the costume
yep.
department to find out why they didn't do the majorette scene during that spooky roller disco moment instead. And perhaps that's where that gold button came from.
I'll be damned. So we're gonna break into Eve's trailer.
Yeah, yeah.
This is a very strange scene, kind of a misdirect. Um, Also, have you ever like gotten ready in a trailer like that? It looks frankly awful.
Yeah, it's not quite a motorhome. It's not quite a tour bus. It's weird and it's claustrophobic looking, but it has a bar and
It
a
has a
TV.
bar, and the corners are covered in leather, so you don't hit your head and cut yourself.
And John Astin jumped out of the closet, so to speak, and went running past Jessica with that majorette outfit. And
Even okay, the whole thing about the maid, and this is what's his name?
Norman.
Norman.
No, not Norman. Sorry. This is Alan. Too many characters.
Alan, too
This
many
is the
characters.
lawyer. This is the lawyer. The lawyer has
Tackled that
tackled the
Aston.
director, who is now the producer,
And I think
because
his
Lyle Waggoner's
motive
dead.
is that he's in financial peril and he needs a movie to sort of get credit for
He
and
needs a hit.
credibility in his career.
Also, he's like, I can't stop him. He doesn't have, we don't have probable cause. Well, he knocked me off my feet. That's
Oh,
assault.
Jesus. They just like nothing. Like, yeah, bring him in.
Yeah. Also, the detective has this random white patch of hair in the back of his head, and it is very odd whenever it just randomly shows up on screen. It is just the smallest patch of gray hair in like the right side of his head.
I have to look for it now.
Right there.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
It's very odd. It's very odd. It almost looks like someone has lint. Just popped it right on him. Yeah.
A little skunky, isn't it?
Well, yeah. So obviously they found the killer, right? It must have been John Astin because he was running with the majorette outfit.
Wah, wah, wah. I don't know. There's still a few minutes left of the episode.
You still have 8 minutes.
We're
Actually, a
learning
little
more
less with the
about
credits.
our
We have at least
suspect
6.
here. Where did I get-
You wanted to get credit for the hit. Yep.
Yep. Where
Norman is just expositing.
have a little dirt on everybody. Oh, and this is where we get the final sort of nail in the coffin for one of our suspects.
Eve Crystal has diabetes and takes oral medication,
And
which
Marta gets
means,
Lydecker's mistress.
which we knew. I think we knew.
And because she's Fab. We love her.
Fantastic.
Quintessa.
So,
Quintessa. Oh,
what I think we need a final scene with all of the suspects just to wrap it up
I think you're right. Let's throw a party.
at the beach house
You
that
know what I want to
the
do
dead man owned.
after?
Who owns this beach house now?
It's gotta be him, right? They're having a party on his they're literally dancing on his grave right now. Has it been 3 days even since he's been killed? I don't think so.
A whirlwind. Also, this is another example of like they're having a gathering. They're putting food out. They're having drinks. The whole gathering lasts 5 minutes.
Wow.
Nobody eats a thing. What was the point?
I don't even think everybody drinks all their drink.
Why did we make this? Why did this could have been an email? Why did everyone go to this party for 5 minutes?
It could have
Because
been.
they're clearly just getting started when we start this.
It's so ceremonial, right? And we know that Miss Fletcher loves to be ceremonial,
It is true.
the reveal of a killer.
It's
Although I have
dramatic.
to say, I was surprised she didn't make the announcement to the entire group, which she is often want to do, right?
Yes.
She has this way of wanting to humiliate the killers in front of large groups of people.
Which she kind of does, but no one knows it.
Nobody
That's the
knows,
thing.
right?
Yeah. Also, this is the first indication that Jessica is somewhat not vain, but insecure about her age to a degree because she makes a joke about crying over cards, including if they say happy birthday. So it's one of those few moments where Jessica acknowledges that she's a woman of a certain age who feels a certain way about that. She's joking, but there's truth.
About laughing, about crying at a greeting card.
Yeah, about happy birthday cards because that means she's getting
Yeah.
older.
No, age is great, Jess. You look great. Keep jogging.
Keep jogging.
Oh, and look, and Marta is wearing a lovely long sky blue.
Smock?
Look cute.
It's like a chemise.
Got a point of view.
I don't know what Eve is wearing, but the lace top thing with the little things, it's very strange.
Oh, I mean, Jessica's really the mood killer here, right? She's like, let's toast to the guy who was wrongfully accused of murder. And then everyone's like, I gotta go.
I gotta go.
It's so weird. It's
It
the
is very
strangest
weird.
transition.
Nobody has touched the hors d'oeuvres.
No.
There's
And they're literally,
crudité.
I would have been there already. I would have had 3 plates. What are we thinking here? We know this bitch has money. Look at that spread. There are 5 of them there. There are trays for 30. Okay. Anyway, they're all gone. Like
Yeah, no.
within 30 seconds, everybody's out the door, except for poor Eve.
Oh, poor Eve.
Poor Eve.
And there she is with her would-be boyfriend,
Yeah.
but
You gotta go work out.
they show zero romance.
None.
She says, please don't go, because she knows that she's gonna have to talk to Jessica. And he says, I'll call you. Does he even kiss her goodbye?
Oh,
I don't even think he does.
he's got to go to the gym. He said,
This 38-year-old is leaving the 22-year-old to
I
her own
know.
devices. Uh, did you really have to say that about Ross? Uh, and
Also,
that's it. Yeah.
implicating you're really trying to avoid being caught. Like, why would you bring it up?
Well, and again, this is all Jessica.
Sure.
No one knows any of this.
No, I don't think
So
she's
her
good at
saying, this
that.
is how I know,
Yeah,
completely refutable. But we have for lack of a better word, sympathetic killer, because this episode really puts the blame on John Astin for covering it up rather than killing him.
sure. Yeah,
But all she has to do is like, well, she wasn't. She said she was drinking at the beach house, but she must have been lying because she was gonna like show me the proof for that ever that happened, Jessica. It'll never hold up in court.
it'll never hold up. You got nothing on me. Um, well, and there's so much to this. This is like so the reason Eve did it was essentially he was gonna her dude was gonna fire her love affair from
Right.
the movie, and because that guy is a rehabilitated drug addict, but still has like an alcohol problem, he really needs a chance, and he was going to take away that chance.
It's so
Ernest,
selfless but stupid
yeah,
in the same
yeah,
way. I
right,
had to stop him from firing my lover,
right.
so I hit him with an urn on
Ern,
set.
which don't even really make sense as like a prop in that graveyard. I'm just gonna
No,
say
you don't put urns in a
it
yeah.
was like it was like a Grecian vase in like a spooky haunted house cemetery. What was
With
it?
neon lights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What was any of it doing there? Nothing makes sense. Where are we? Who are we?
It also looked aluminum. Like, let's just get real. It should probably not have killed Linedecker. But this is Jessica playing to her sympathies and just like
Yeah.
allowing her to confess, which again, she has to do all over again on the record for any
Yeah.
of this to matter.
Yeah. I mean, do you think Jessica would spend most of her time uh, uh court appearances after her shenanigans abroad?
This moment right here.
How did you know?
Well, I didn't. Not at first. You fooled me with your drunk scene. People don't give you enough credit as an actress.
Red for filth. You're
Yeah,
actually not a shitty actress.
very generous.
You really fooled me.
And also, it was a terrible drunk scene. Let's just be honest.
Oh, that's actually, yes, this is right.
That night. I'm no expert, but even I know that real drinkers don't mix Scotch whiskey with Diet Cola. And then I remembered Marta saying that someone put vodka in your glass and
First of all, whiskey and vodka, while they share elements, you can be allergic to one and not the other, I believe. You can have issues with one versus the other.
In this case, isn't it an alcohol reaction with the diabetes medication?
Yes,
That's the
right.
that's the giveaway here.
It is because she couldn't possibly, oh, but she also couldn't possibly, as a real drinker, been drinking Diet Coke and
Ah,
whiskey.
you know what I'm gonna do? I'm gonna get off this call and I'm gonna have a whiskey and Diet Coke.
Put yourself
It's
in
my
that woman's
giant
shoes.
finger to Miss
You're gonna,
Fletcher.
you're gonna pour one out for Eve Crystal.
We'll come back next week and be like, it was disgusting. Don't ever do it.
That's our
No
episode
reasonable
title.
drinker would ever drink a Diet Coke and a whiskey.
That's our episode title for today. Pour one out for Eve Crystal.
Oh, Eve,
Oh,
barely knew ye.
I sure know how to pick them, don't I, Mrs. Fletcher? And wait, and freeze.
Concerned,
Oh,
pensive look. She cares about
gorgeous
it,
blue eyes.
but not enough to not put her in jail.
And again, it's one of those where it's all about the confession. That's all that we need for closure in this episode. There's no officer waiting in the wings. There's no, because she's not a flight risk, I guess.
Yeah. It's a, but so overall, what are your thoughts on this episode? In the scheme of episodes we have seen thus far, where do you think this falls, and what do you think what sets up for the future of the series?
Well, obviously it's splashy. I feel that it is one of the earliest attempts to contemporize the show,
Mm-hmm.
which as yet doesn't have the reputation yet of being like, quote, for old biddies or something like that as a cozy mystery. But many of the episodes don't bother to do that. And I feel like this was an attempt to get a younger audience interested and also kind of make fun of it for the older people.
Oh yeah. I
So
mean,
I feel like
so
that's in play.
yeah.
Strong performances for the most part.
Yep.
Eve is a little bit of a wimp. Oh, Jerry. But there's a reason for that. Again, her youth and her also kind of lying the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I would have loved, it's not this type of show, but I would have loved if Eve had been like, yeah, that's what I did because I did what I had to do. I think it would have been much more interesting if she
Yeah.
had been not calculated, but like sometimes you gotta
Look up.
crack some eggs.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
She's a little weak.
yeah, which we get in other villains
Yeah.
a lot of times where they're like, I did what I had to do. She's like, I did what I had to do.
Mhm.
Yeah, yeah. Um, again, I think it establishes uh JB Fletcher's rise to fame. It successfully depicts her transition from Cabot Cove, where she's successful, but a lady around town,
Sure.
and a bona fide star. She has press hounding her at one point.
Uh,
Um,
I think this episode certainly had budget, right? Like they were like,
yeah,
money, we can make this something. There are a lot of set pieces in this. We don't often see that in these shows, particularly early on in their life cycles. Uh, I think
although
I think
everything in that movie set was all in the graveyard.
yeah. Oh God, graveyard. I think I saw that graveyard in Plan 9 from Outer Space.
Um, a lot of really great minute and a half second roles. Uh, clearly they were going for big guns. They got quality actors to do very small, kind of
Yeah,
thankless parts.
totally. I can't
Um,
believe that Lyle Waggoner performance.
I wonder if there was more in it because again, this the episode does stop right at the confession, so maybe they were pressed for time. I'm not really sure. And this is a 48-minute episode, which is long.
It is one of the longer ones, isn't it?
I don't know how long it is comparatively to some of the others, but that's longer than most contemporary shows.
Yeah.
Most shows are 43, 44 if they're an hour. So so if that already tells me that in syndication, this is already going to get chopped.
Absolutely.
And frankly, that Lyle Wagner scene could get chopped.
Right. Even that,
Um, all
that
that information is mentioned again later.
they literally just refer to him.
Yeah.
We don't miss him. Yeah.
She
Oh,
could have gone straight to the set.
but he sure is handsome, isn't he?
He's he's super
Combination of
dreamy.
Halloween, Porky's, and Flashdance.
And
That's what it
Flashdance.
was. Halloween, Porky's, and Flashdance. Um, honestly, sounds kind of good.
I know.
You can't be serious.
It's so great. It's so great. She's flummoxed.
He is.
Um, yeah. So I think again, it's early enough in the show to really sort of push her forward. to make her more, because again, very soon we're going to start throwing her into lectures. We're going to start making people want to buy her work at a more rapid pace. That becomes a very important plot coming up in the amusement park episode that's coming up. Like she has to be a name. The Broadway episode will eventually happen too, where her book is transferred into a Broadway play. Um, yeah, so I think it does a very good decent job there. It does sort of Jessica does have moments of kind of shrewishness in this.
Yeah.
She's a little dowdy and a little not as fun, frankly.
Yeah. Yeah.
She's a little bit like finger waggy at times.
Sure. Yeah. I think it's one of those things where I imagine, and we could look this up, but I imagine not all of these scripts were written by the same people, and we're all writing for a slightly different voice still early in the series, right? And so
Hmm.
I think what in some of our previous episodes where Jessica has fully been like a sex kitten, he is written from more of like that sort of fussy, old,
Fussy, that's a great way of putting
very
it.
fussy in this episode, which makes her, as you said, much less fun to watch. It's not really
But
until the end of
yeah,
the episode that she sort of is more in her sort of natural power. But I have to be honest, I didn't really love watching this episode because I thought the tone was a little weird, particularly in the first half of it. I think it's stronger toward the end, but um, there's just for me there's some strange pacing. Even though I liked the character lineup, I think that everybody initially had like really good motivation to be a killer, so it was fun to think about who was doing what. But yeah, I don't think the character of Jessica Fletcher from the writing perspective had really reached a nice um happy medium. You know what I mean?
I do. And I
Uh,
think that's in such a contrast to the Hollywood
yeah,
element, which is cold or flashy,
right.
or
I just
sometimes
feel like I
both.
wanted her to be a little bit more savvy in
Hmm.
the environment. I know that we're still in the first season, but um
It's super Miss Marple though.
she should be a little cooler because she is kind of cooler.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Again, she's like I mean at the very least she seems to know what Porky's Halloween and Flashdance are.
Right? Even if
So
she's
she can't be
all in
in
the mirror mention it. Yeah.
um she's a little judgy about that. But oh those eyebrows. But I have to say there's it's a kind of mean depiction of Hollywood too.
Yeah. Yeah, for
It's
sure.
not a fun ride
Unless you're
in
Marta.
that sense. Say again?
Unless you're Marta.
Unless you're Marta. Well, and again, Marta's sort of like, I don't know, she gives me Redgrave vibes,
Oh, for
who we have
sure.
in the next episode.
There's something
But
about her. Yeah.
like Haley Mills or
Yes, Amy Mills.
fun.
Carry that. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
She's a little lighter.
yeah.
And I think she's there to help provide that. She's not like cracking jokes, but she's there to sort of add like an elegant humor.
Yeah.
But not a lot of jokes in this episode,
Oh,
frankly.
not many. Speaking of Haley Mills, I think she shows up in a few episodes down the line.
She does. She does.
Yeah.
She does. But only as one. She doesn't play twins.
Shucks.
Missed
No, I actually think of her
opportunities.
more as Miss Bliss from the first season of Saved by the Bell, more than I ever think of the Parent Trap or Pollyanna
Understandable.
or
Or
whatever.
Pollyanna, yeah.
All
Yeah.
those lovely classics she did. Um, but I think of her with Mark Paul Gosselaar of all people. Maybe it's because I had a crush on Mark Paul Gosselaar as a kid.
Understandable.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Hooray for Homicide. Da, 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 da. Da,
Uh,
da, 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 da. Yeah.
oh,
It's a little cynical, but it definitely is telling the story and
job done.
getting the job done.
Yep.
Uh, our next episode is the famous dog episode, which also has a fun variety of characters. I'm looking forward to watching that with you.
That'll be fun. Oh yeah.
Um, and I think one of the most satisfying court scenes in Murder, She Wrote that we have. There's a
Ooh.
yeah, it's a really great moment there. But yeah, that was tonight on Murder She Wrote.
Where did she go?
All right. Any final moments? Final thoughts?
Um, my final thoughts are, I think I think I need to watch Porky's because it's the one movie in that trio that I have not seen. I
It
think
has it is a certain flavoring. It is very straight boy humor. And it probably has aged like milk.
it's real chunky now.
I'm gonna tell you that is going to be, yeah. My final thought is read your contracts, people.
The fine print, please.
Pay attention to what you're signing away for. And she does. Like when her work is later adapted in other art and other forms, she's appalled, but she doesn't challenge it. When she does the in the Broadway play episode when they're changing her script, she doesn't say, "Well, you can't do that." She knows they can. We all make mistakes. Say again?
She has made peace with it.
Yes. All right, darling.
Bye-bye.
It's been a pleasure. I'm Victor.
It's been a joy. I'm Petra.
Ah, and that was, shall we?
Tonight.
1,
Oh,
2, 3.
tonight.
Tonight
Oh,
on
good.
Murder She Wrote.
I wonder if we're delayed.
I don't think it likes when we both talk at the same time is the problem.
It says, hold on, hold on.
Oh.
Okay. Ta-ta!